Hey guys, so I'm here to talk about something that's very important that's often overlooked by the younger crowd, even me myself in the earlier years, right? Is you can buy 2-inch lowering springs and then drop them on a, this is specifically for GMs, Ford have their own issues, but like for example my 68 Firebird, you buy some 2-inch drop springs, you drop the front end. But what a lot of people don't take into account is the camber curve on these cars. It's pretty wild. If you've ever watched any action movies, or I don't know, the scene from that old 2001 movie Triple X, which isn't really that old, I know, but you know what I mean. Or that 67, I think it was a Tempest that they had done up as a GTO clone, was going around the corner, and the outside wheel, the one that's tucked into the fender, that one was way cambered out, right? So that's a result of GM's camber. So to kind of visualize my hand, as the suspension moves upward, the camber goes like this. As it moves downward, it goes like this. So if you've ever seen one of these older cars, or a Chevelle, this happens to be a B body, but say an A body or an F body, you see them on a lift, or even when you jack it up, the front wheels, full droop, they look like that. So of course the second gen F bodies had a much better camber curve, and that's why a lot of the performance guys, they'll use a taller ball joint and a different control arm for the first gen F bodies, mimicking the geometry of the second gen F bodies. But what we're referring to is the earlier ones, where this was lowered. Well, I lowered it by 2 inches, but today I went ahead and corrected the actual ride height camber, right? So I can't control the camber curve, not without doing a whole lot of stuff to control arms and all this other stuff. But what I can control is the camber at ride height. So when I lowered it, it moved it up into positive camber, which what you don't want. You don't want a lot of negative camber either, because that's wild, but you want neutral camber. Maybe a little bit negative if you're doing a lot of autocross. But the way you do that, right? You replace the springs, that's easy. I have a video about that. Plenty of others have videos about that. Is you see right there, the upper control arm is shimmed. Well, these little shims, you buy them for about $5. For me to do this, with how drastic my camber was, because I think it wasn't right to begin with, I needed 2 packs, one for each side, because I moved the upper control arm inboard by 3/16. What I didn't do was I didn't actually align it, as in I didn't mess with any of the settings that were here previously, back when it was somebody's daily driver. But because I had lowered it, I just went ahead and took those settings and expounded upon them by 3/16. So this side went in 3/16, that side went in 3/16. So yeah, so now I'm looking forward to not eating the outside edge of my tires when I'm just cruising down the highway. Okay, so that was a little bit negative, if you could see. Whereas this one, I might even say this one's a little bit positive. But again, this is all eyeball. Car rode fine before I started messing with it. All this is a stopgap measure, and once I get to where we're going with this thing, I'm gonna actually do a proper alignment, measure everything out. And what I'm probably going to find in this is going to be fairly surprising, because there's different amounts of shims here, left and right, meaning the frame's not all that straight anymore. Never was. So it is what it is. These are mass-produced cars, but I'm loving it. It's just about road trip ready. I got new cap and rotor in there. I got spare points in the glove box. I'm running double belt now, both brand new belts, and I have spares. Brand new belt on my power steering. Oh, and an update on the alternator. It no longer makes that horrible noise. Yeah, so it really was the belt squeaking. You could tell by the wear right here. I'm gonna go ahead and fire this thing up and give you an idea of what we're talking about. But so some of you brought up this Rochester carb, how the fuel filter in there is kind of junk, and I agree. The Autolite 41 and 21 and 1100 series, same thing. I don't like the built-in filter. This one doesn't have a built-in filter. This hardline goes down to a canister filter pre-pump, so there's no pressure at that filter. I got gas all over myself changing it. I changed those hoses so they're not going to crack on me. So fuel hoses changed, fuel filter changed, and the old filter was plugged up because I'd run a tank of gas through it after it sat for that long. And as you can imagine, it was substantial, you know. Let me see. 1, 2. Yeah, fires right up. Alright, what you don't want to do with these Buicks, or any car really, is rev it too hard when the oil's still cold. So, but I do want to keep it from dying. Oh yes, this. So this has a hole right here, and there's air blowing there because my heat, well, it's warm, it's not necessarily hot, but it does work. What doesn't work is the defrost. So in order to defrost my windshield safely, as you can tell, it's already delaminated around the edges, so I really don't want to compromise the integrity of this windshield. I cut a hole on the back side of this, and then a hole up here, so it's like a U channel, I guess, 290s, really. It's just a bottle of soda that I repurposed. Spare belts. Just about road trip ready with the family. So yeah. There you go. See, not a peep, which is really good news because it charges really well. You know, there's no issues with that. So, oh, and the carburetor. The carburetor is working beautifully. It's worked through any gummy spots. I replaced the accelerator pump with a ethanol resistant one. And other than that, it was in pretty decent shape. I'll rebuild it later when, you know, get the final place. I'm kind of in a hurry, and the spare time I do have, I'm using to finish customer orders. Let me give you a quick update on that. See, the seats are folded. I got an engine hoist in there. I got a spare. But yeah, this is what I've been working on. I've been filling customer orders left and right. Whatever changes I need to make to this design, I've already drafted up. So the next batch, there's going to be less grinding work involved and more, you know, more just throwing stuff into this jig, building it. Every one of these holes mimics the placement of the differential into the actual Datsun. So, you know, this piece right here, the holes are lined up, and this is the front part of it mimics the trans tunnel. This back part mimics the cross brace thing that they have there. So yeah, this is what I've been doing. As soon as this is done, I'm out of here. Well, you guys have a Merry Christmas, and I'll keep you all updated on how this goes. But I had to recocking this. This is something I'm gonna have to repair the right way, but what I didn't want to do is lose the window on the freeway, because these are really hard to come by, this glass. So I used polyurethane caulking. I didn't use the expensive windshield glue. That would have been ideal. But I did use something that, you know, well, it wasn't cheap, but keeps this from going out for now. I have a shrinker stretcher. I have a stand for a foot pedal. I have a press brake, a finger die. I have all kinds of metal fab tools that I've been collecting for the past few months, because I am planning on, well, doing a lot of metal work to this, to the Firebird, whatever, maybe help Chris Birdsong out a little bit. We'll see. I got a pretty cool announcement to make once I get over to wherever it is I'm going. All right, guys, you take it easy, and hope y'all have a wonderful holiday.